Hi, everyone. I know that the Kavanaugh confirmation has moved out of committee thanks to an 11 to 10 vote in the Senate committee, the Judiciary Committee. And I think it's appropriate that it did move forward. I think that, unfortunately, we've talked about it way too much. And I actually put out just a post like 20 or 30 minutes ago saying, everybody's so pissed off about the Supreme Court decision, whatever, the Supreme Court situation, more accurately. But why are you so pissed off? People get fucked in court all the time. So it's just normal. Whatever side you're on, it doesn't matter. So, a lot of people are going to be bent out of shape about that. Listen, you people can't, nobody, if you're a progressive, if you're a conservative, it's not in your hands to really change what's going to be going on. And I know it must make us all feel like a bit powerless, but that's the way we should feel about the entire government, man. That's the way that they've rendered us all the time. And I know a lot of conservatives specifically are getting really, really mad at Jeff Flake. And I will say this, okay? I have never liked Jeff Flake, and I don't think that this was a good idea. And I think it was a huge mistake on his part. Let's watch this video. And we can see a little incident that happened earlier today where some sexual assault victims confronted Jeff Flake. Now, I don't know who these people are, and I don't know exactly what their story is, and frankly, I don't really think it's relevant to what we're discussing here today, but let's watch it anyway.
Look away from me. Look at me and tell me that it doesn't matter what happened to me. That you let people like that go into the highest court of the land and tell everyone what they can do to their bodies.
You have an answer, Senator?
Senator Flake, do you think that Brett Kavanaugh is telling the truth? Do you think that he's able to hold the pain of this country and prepare it? That is the work of justice. The way that justice works is you recognize harm, you take responsibility for it, and then you begin to repair it. You're allowing someone who is unwilling to take responsibility for his own actions, unwilling to hold the harm that he has done to one woman, actually 3 women, and repair it. You are allowing someone who is unwilling to take responsibility for his own actions to sit in the higher court of the country and to have the role of repairing the harm that has been done in this country to many people. No, thank you. What do you think? You have power. The truth.
Questions for the senator.
I want to talk to him. Don't talk to me. What do you think? I understand, but tell me, I'm standing right here in front of you. What do you have? Do you think that he's telling the truth? No. Do you think that he's telling the truth to the country?
You have power when so many women are powerless.
You just released a press statement. You don't have the courage to give them an answer?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you's not an answer, Senator.
Thank you.
Saying thank you is not an answer. It's about the future of our country, sir.
Why now? Why not wait? Why not wait? Why not wait for the investigation? There's no harm.
All right, that was a bunch of nonsense. None of these people actually discussed the pertinent facts of the case. And this is really what all that matters. If you can prove that Brett Kavanaugh sexually assaulted somebody, then you have a case. And if you can't prove it, then I don't give a shit. And it doesn't matter how much people call for empathy and for, understanding and don't victim blame or anything. Asking for proof is not blaming anyone. And asking for substantiation of accusations against a person, somebody who is a federal judge, which is kind of important. I know we're all equal before the law, but a federal judge who would have sexually assaulted somebody, that would jeopardize the integrity of having him on the federal bench if he was not confirmed. Okay, people should remember that. He's already under no obligation to step down from the. I think that there is an impeachment process for federal judges, but I'm not sure exactly how that works, and it could take a lot of headaches in order for that to happen, if it were ever to happen with Brett Kavanaugh. But the bottom line is, if you don't have any proof, I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. I really don't. For whatever the accusation would be, whether it's sexual assault, whether it's illegal, parking illegally, anything that you do that is an infraction of any sort, I think should be provable if you want to hold the person accountable. And that goes for Brett Kavanaugh. That goes for any person who's a Tavis Smiley, who, when I read the allegation against him, I thought was just ridiculous. Morgan Freeman, who's other? There's other people. Even what's that guy's name? Roy Moore. There was the who was another person? This Jack Smith guy, who is an idiot. I've said before that the burden of proof should be on the accuser. It shouldn't be on the person who's being accused, because the active party here is the person who's putting forward the accusation. So people are really mad at Jeff Flake, and I'm not happy with Jeff Flake, and I've never liked him, and I've said some pretty derogatory things about him, and I think those things stand. But the reality is that people have to recognize that this is the Republican Party, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's why you should not commit. You shouldn't be a part of these organizations. I don't believe really in joining organizations, unfortunately. If there was a party that I was close to joining, it would probably have been the Libertarian Party, which is kind of a joke in and of itself. But in terms of ideas, it's a little closer to what I believe. But in terms of real follow-through, no, as an organization, it's a joke. And the Republican Party as an organization is a joke. And it's a joke because of people like Jeff Flake. And let's step into the mind of somebody like Jeff Flake at this moment. If you follow Jeff Flake's career, this is a person, okay, so far as I know, who has basically dedicated his entire time as a senator and whatever the hell he was doing before that, trying to appear as a very moral and emphatically, religious person. I believe he's a Mormon, just like, who was the other senator that was, used to be from, from Utah? I don't even remember now. Well, Orrin Hatch used to be, is retiring from Utah. But there are a lot of Mormons, for example. Of course, you have Mitt Romney, that their whole bag is that they want to appear above reproach entirely when you're talking about issues of morality and ethics. And unfortunately, you're a part of the Senate, so you're already a dirty piece of shit. Okay, so Jeff Flake is living in an alternate reality. Whenever Jeff Flake votes for an authorization for use of military force in a place like Yemen, with no accountability, okay, I'm not saying that you should never be able to use military force, but when he votes for resolutions like that in the Senate, he's doing much more harm than he would be by confirming Brett Kavanaugh. And I'm not trying to say this because I'm a huge fan of Kavanaugh. I've talked about my criticism of Kavanaugh and the Patriot Act before on this channel. The fact is that all the hearings have kind of made me move a little more in favor of Brett Kavanaugh. A little more. Because honestly, I haven't learned as much about him as about the idiots that oppose him. So I don't think that he's the ideal justice by any means for me. But the reasons that are being put forward for rejecting him are ridiculous. And they're the type of reasons that would influence the soft and pathetic mind of somebody like Jeff Flake. Because Jeff Flake, if we're being honest here, is just a person who's all about how is the world going to think about me? Are they going to think I'm a good person? Are they going to think that I care about people? I'll tell you one thing. If you guys watch this channel, I don't care if you fucking think I'm a good person. There's a lot of days I look in the mirror, I don't think I'm a good person. But I think like the way I justify what I do every day is that I'm trying to work to help other people. Okay, if people think I'm a piece of crap after that, I don't really care. Okay, I probably am a piece of crap to a lot of people. I do get into all sorts of very vulgar debates with people, and it's really something that I've had. It's something I've been involved with my entire life. I used to mouth off to teachers. I used to be a snotty kid at home. I've never cared about whether people think I'm a nice, decent person. Sometimes, of course, everybody has their limit. Okay, I don't want everybody to think I'm a piece of crap. And there's certainly people who, there's specific people in my life that I care about what they think about me. But it's a very short list. It's a very short list. And those are people I respect. I am not going to just live my life according to what the rest of the world thinks about my morality and ethics. Okay, if you want to do the right thing, then you do the right thing because you believe it. You don't do the right thing because other people believe it. And unfortunately, you have in Jeff Flake, who wants to be perceived as a good person, and yes, maybe inside he wants to be a good person. Okay, let's play. I guess it would be Angel's advocate or something here. Maybe he wants to be a good person, and maybe he does have empathy for these victims of sexual assault that are protesting him and everything. There's no reason to think that he doesn't. I mean, we don't know. Maybe he knows sexual assault victims. Okay, so I'm not happy with what Jeff Flake did. I'm not too bent out of shape though, because it's kind of typical. It's been typical of his behavior. He's a very superficial thinker. Okay, I don't think that he's a horrible human being, but he's a very superficial person in his thinking. Because Brett Kavanaugh, at the end of the day, has not been proven by these people to be a sexual predator. Okay, they cannot possibly hope to prove that this person is a sexual predator by just bombarding the world with guilt trips about, oh, I was a victim too, and why I didn't report, and all those things. All of those things are very, very, I guess, deep excursions into your own soul. And they're also things that I don't care about because I care if there's proof. Okay, and I think that a lot of other people care if there's proof. Yes, there's also a lot of idiots that want Brett Kavanaugh confirmed no matter what, even if it was true that like all of these allegations were true, which I don't believe that they are. There are some morons out there that even if literally everything that Kavanaugh has been accused of was true, they'd say, yeah, confirm him. But the fact is that there isn't the proof there. And the fact of the matter is that the people that are bringing forth the accusations, they haven't brought any substance to them. They just bring a lot of anguish that they show to the public that, it's very, I guess it elicits a lot of reactions from people depending on what side you're on, but it doesn't prove anything. And the only thing that Jeff Flake has proven here is that he's ending his Senate career the way he's always conducted himself in the Senate, which is somebody who cares about what people think about him. And I don't think that that's really what a senator has to do. I think that there's always been certain senators that are willing to do important work and help the country. And then there's the majority of senators who in one shape or form think the same way as Jeff Flake. Maybe on the other side of the spectrum. All these people virtue signaling over Planned Parenthood and, women's rights and, the what's that thing called? The Keystone XL pipeline, any issue, they'll basically, they don't even understand why they oppose something, but they feel better and they feel people want to emulate them for what they say about it. And that's not why you should be in the Senate. That's why I think that you do need people that are a little more just brass tacks and everything. And that's why I have a little more respect for Chairman Grassley, the senator from Iowa this week. Even though he's kind of a ridiculous figure. He sounds like a fucking Iowa corn farmer or something. That, for all I know, that might be his job before he was in the Senate. I don't know anything about Chuck Grassley, but the way he behaved during that Senate, it seemed like he just wanted to go about business and see if this is something worth pursuing and do the things in the most efficient way possible in order to get this done. So yeah, Chuck Grassley, you might not think he's the most moral and ethical person, but I don't think that you can manage a hearing, manage a committee like that the way that he has. And it's pretty obvious that Jeff Flake isn't nearly as skillful at it as Chuck Grassley was. So that's about it. Please leave your comments in the comment box, obviously below, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to my new channel, Razor Ray Live Wounds, for any live streams, and also share the video. And I'll see you guys later, probably either tomorrow night or Sunday.